Wolfe Glick got second place at the Indianapolis Regional Championship, almost being able to win it all with Mega Steelix. We're going to be trying out my recreation of that team and seeing how well it can perform. This team that features Mega Steelix was almost able to win the first Pokemon Champions Regional Championship. Let's break it down. So first Pokemon we have is going to be the Mega Steelix, which is a very interesting Mega Evolution. It has one of the highest physical defenses in the game, which is really strong in a format that has a bunch of high physical attackers. So the Mega Steelix is actually pretty good, and then its coverage is really nice. Heavy Slam to threaten the Eternal Floets and Sylveons, which is incredible. High Horsepower, of course, being a really strong ground coverage attack. And then Wide Guard for support is pretty interesting because when you have Wide Guard with Steelix, you can be able to block Earthquake, Heat Wave, a lot of the powerful spread moves. And then if like you have Sand Up, you're able to wall Charizards basically because Heat Wave, they can't block it through Wide Guard. And Weather Ball is not going to be an option either because of the fact that it's going to be a rock type Weather Ball in the sand. So it's a one way that can be really supportive here. It can also help out the Tyranitar setup, protecting itself from Dazzling Gleams, Hyper Voices, Earthquakes, and more. So pretty cool. Ability Sturdy in case you have to switch in and survive an attack is the most useful ability out of the rest of Steelix's moves. And the EV spread is going to be just a simple max HP and max attack because I assume this is just going to be a Circumsweeper and you don't really need much physical defense. You're not running body press, and then mainly you're just trying to get as much damage as you possibly can. And then we also have Mega Tyranitar. Of course, you want to have Tyranitar to be able to enable the Sand Stream, which of course gives Mega Steelix its ability, which is going to be the Sand Force, powering up its Steel, Ground, and Rock type moves while in the Sand Storm. And this is going to be pretty important for Steelix to be able to actually get some pretty heavy damage, especially with that Heavy Slam and the high horsepower. But we have Mega Tyranitar, which is going to be pretty nice because it can be a sweeper on its own. That Dragon Dance Mega Tyranitar is a very strong set because once the Tyranitar is boosted, it can threaten the Charizards, doesn't need to sand anymore. And then of course those knockoff and rock sets are really going to be able to hurt. So we have this Tyranitar. Wolf's was Jolly, and I assume that you're just going to go with max speed and max attack at this point because max speed Jolly Tyranitar will allow you to be able to outspeed the base 130s after a Dragon Dance. Think of like Mega Gengar, Mega Delphox, and anything below that. But also you want the attack investment because you want to be able to clean things up, especially after 1 or 2 Dragon Dances. And having that attack investment, I think, can be really important here, especially since you're not going adamant. So I do think you probably want to have a lot of attack, at least with the adamant nature. And I noticed that Wolf didn't have much HP investment. It was only like 2 HP points. So I'm assuming it was just going to be max speed and max attack. It helps enable the Steelix, but also gives another multi team, which is a Dragon Dance Tyranitar setup. So next Pokemon we have is going to be the Swords Dance Talonflame, which is definitely an interesting set, but I did understand it after thinking about it a bit. I think the team probably has a few weaknesses to the Sinistcha, which is kind of a hard Pokemon to actually do damage to. You really only have like Steelix with Heavy Slam and Tyranitar with knockoff, but otherwise it's pretty hard to damage. And then I think Como is a pretty massive team if you don't have Talonflame, because you have really nothing that's able to threaten the Como without it. So having the Talonflame with Swords Dance I think makes a ton of sense here. And the Gale Wings, of course, gives priority to the flying type moves on the Talonflame. Of course, we do have Sandstream, which does break that, which can be a bit of a problem, but it could actually be useful in some situations against like Farigiraf and more, which I think does make sense here. And when I recreated the team with the Talonflame initially, I thought it was Acrobatics. I saw Swords Dance, but I thought it was Acrobatics. And instead, it's actually the Sharp Beak set with a Jolly Nature on the Talonflame. So I assume with the HP investment, it was just so you get a little bit of bulk from the remainder so that you don't take like extra damage from the Sandstream, which is kind of important. And then the speed, I assume this is just to speed creep the Sneaslers. That's what I would go for, at least with this team. If you're going to run Jolly Talonflame, you're probably just going to be able to outspeed the Sneasler. Guaranteed, I might as well go a point up at that point. And then you want as much attack as possible because you really are ideally trying to sweep the opponent with the Sword Stance on the Talonflame. So that's the idea of this recreation of this Talonflame spread. It's just outspeed Sneasler, speed creeper by 1 point even, have a bit of HP as the remainder, just enough to be able to make sure you don't take extra damage from the Sand Stream, and then max attack for the power of 1 really strong hit. So next Pokemon we have is going to be the White Herb Sneasler, being able to reset one of its stat drops for 1 time, and then with the Unburden you would be able to get the double in speed after consuming that held item, which can be nice. It helps out against Intimidate, but of course the close combat defense drops is also another thing that you can have access to. And I'm pretty sure that we saw on stream that the Sneasler was pretty bulky, it wasn't doing too much damage, and it was a Jolly Nature. I assume with Jolly Nature, you don't go max speed on this team, especially since Wolfe did have some bulk, and I did copy the HP stat. I assume that the Sneasler is going to not be the fastest Sneasler, but I assume you want to at least outspeed the Adamant Sneaslers, as well as like Timid Eternal Floettes, Jolly Garchomp. So that's what this Sneasler is designed for. I don't think you need to outspeed like Whimsicott or the opposing like Alolan Ninetales and anything in that speed category, because I think those are very niche situations. I think it wants to have a good amount of bulk because it wasn't doing too much damage on stream, but I think you want to survive probably like Wave Crash from Basket Legion, from Jolly Scarf, as well as the ability to survive dual wing beat from Aerodactyl. So that's what the 24 defense and 17 HP are for in this recreation, and then the rest is just going into attack. So Close Combat Dire Claw does some decent damage still, especially with sand, can get the knockout into flow. Very favorable with the sand damage. So that's the idea of the Sneasler. It's a great support Pokemon. Does help out against the fairy types. Having a fast mon that can threaten the fairy types as well as a slow mon is very appreciated, and of course really good coverage against Kingambit and more. Next Pokemon we have is going to be the Citrus Berry Sinistcha, and Sinistcha, of course, really great mon. Hospitality is able to heal the allies by 25% every time Sinistcha switches in. Really helps out with the Mega Tyranitar Dragon Dance setup mode, as well of course against the Steelix. So when using the Steelix, you're able to heal off the damage, which is pretty nice, and because Steelix is able to tank so many attacks in the game, just keeping it healthy is very solid. On this Sinistcha, it's pretty standard. We're going to be running with Protect to keep itself around, Matcha Gotcha for the Spread Grass type move that can recover HP but also get the burn chance, Rage Powder for redirection, and then Trick Room, of course, you want to set it up for the Steelix. And this EV spread has been a pretty common Sinistcha spread that a lot of players have used. It is supposed to be able to survive, like, let's say, Heat Wave from Charizard Y after a Parting Shot, or I think it can also live after the Sandstream goes up, so it's out of Sun. So I do think that is a pretty good thing for the Sinistcha to have, while having a good amount of physical defense to still be able to take on attacks like the Kowtow Cleave from the Kingambits initially. So that is pretty nice. Final Pokemon on this team is going to be the Leftovers Rotom Wash, and with Leftovers on the Rotom Wash, you're able to negate the sand residual damage while you have Hospitality on the Sinistcha, so you can still recover HP with the Rotom pretty comfortably. And this Rotom is pretty monstrous with Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, Will-O-Wisp, Light Screen. This Pokemon is absolutely so strong in a low power format just because of the Will-O-Wisp being so good against a lot of the physical attackers, and then Light Screen to reduce the damage from the special attackers. Very useful for both Mega Tyranitar and Steelix. It is incredible. The only downside is its moves are very inaccurate. Hydro Pump and Will-O-Wisp are not very fun to deal with, but it is such a great defensive typing. Levitate for the ability makes it immune to any of the ground type attacks as well. It's pretty dang good. And of course you have like Thunderbolt to be able to hit the bulky waters, as well as like the Corviknights, which can be annoying for the team otherwise. The EV spread recreation we have here on this Rotom Wash is going to be max HP for the bulk. With Bold, you want to have a decent jump point in its stat, I think. So we're going to go with 13, which does hit 1 extra stat point in its defense. And then I did decide to have a bit of speed, and this allows you to outspeed, for instance, some of the speed creeps like Venusaur, as well as the Archalons that try to outspeed like Mega Aerodactyl under Tailwind. I sped crab that a little bit, and then the rest is going to be in special defense to be able to take attacks like the Eternal Floette attacks, as well as Sylveon, really strong special attacks, especially after that light screen. So that is going to be the idea of this Rotom Wash. It's really good to be able to support, just slow down the opponent's damage output, and then allow your Pokemon to either set up or dish out the damage. So how to use the team? Well, you do have two main modes I would say you would be considering, whether that's the Dragon Dance Tyranitar setup mode. You have access to the Sneasler as well as the Rotom Wash to help enable the Tyranitar to set up the Dragon Dances with fake out support from the Sneasler, and of course like the Will-O-Wisp light screen to reduce the damage output of your opponents with the Rotom Wash to allow Tyranitar to set up safely, and then use Sinistcha in the back to get that Hospitality recovery with the Tyranitar, as well as Rage Powder redirect any moves, especially those fine type moves that could be really annoying into Tyranitar. Then you also have the Trick Room Steelix mode, which I would say is also another really good mode. You want to bring the Steelix under Trick Room with Sinistcha, and then ideally you do have the Sandstream as well active, so you are able to get that Sand Force when Steelix Mega Evolves, so those Heavy Slam and High Horsepower are really doing a ton of damage. And those are going to be your main two modes. You also have a Talonflame mode where you do have access to it, but I assume it's going to be in very specific matchups, which is going to be probably Como most likely, as well as like some balanced teams with like the Sinistcha as well. But that is going to be the idea of the team. I'd say most common leads that you have access to, probably Sneasler does like to lead a lot with the fake out support. You do have access to Tyranitar with Dragon Dance, which is a pretty big one, or you could lead Sneasler plus Rotom Wash. You go for a fake out, set up something like a Will-O-Wisp or a Light Screen, and really reduce the damage output so your back Pokemon can really be able to take the attacks. And then other modes you could consider leading. Rotom Wash is a pretty good one with the, again, ability to reduce the damage output of your opponent with Will-O-Wisp Light Screen lead. Next to Pokemon like Tyranitar. Next is even Steelix on the lead if you don't want to lead Trick Room up immediately, because sometimes Sinistra is awkward to lead straight up. You want to probably just get the Wisp off in like the King Gambits, the Basky Legions before the Sinistra comes in comfortably, so it can set up the Trick Room in the mid game and then allow Steelix to clean up. That's also another mode you can go for. And of course, Talonflame can lead with like Sneasler for the fake up of Swords Dance, or could lead with the Rotom immediately. Go for, again, set up your things so you can allow Talonflame to take the damage a bit easier and then fire off, like, again, maybe a Swords Dance, and you have that Hospitality with the Sinistra that could recover the Talonflame Gale Wings potentially. But yeah, those are probably going to be the main ways that you play with this team. If you would like to check out the details of my recreation, they'll be linked in the description down below. And if you would like to try out the original team, which is Wolfe's official team, he did release it on Patreon alongside a replica code. I'll link it down in the description. These are the EV spreads that I came up with based on my knowledge of the team, what I saw on stream. So this is my recreation of it. It's not the perfect EV spreads, and I'm not exactly 100% sure what is Wolfe's official EV spreads, but I do think that I probably did a decent job at recreating the team from the knowledge that I had access to based on the calcs on stream. If you like to check out my details of the team, again, it's on your screen. You can check it down below. But again, if you want to try out the official version and grab the replica code, of course, of that team, make sure you go check out Wolfe's Patreon, which will be linked down below in the description. But otherwise, let's play some games with Mega Steelix Sand. All right, we see Aerodactyl, Kangaskhan, Sylveon, Farigiraf, Torkoal, and King Gambit. All right, Steelix is pretty good except against the Torkoal, but we do have Tyranitar, which is pretty nice. I think this is a game. Do I need Sneasler? I don't think I do. I like Rotom, Tyranitar, Sinistra, Steelix a lot. I think I'm gonna just lead Rotom plus Steelix. Like, you might be thinking, why am I leading Steelix? Like, what threatens Steelix outside of the Torkoal immediately? And they have to switch in. And if they switch in, Tyranitar plus Hydro Pump is also play. So I do think that I just lead this Steelix plus Rotom and then have Tyranitar plus Sinistra in the back. I think this is a really good general lead plan because there's not much that they could really do to punish the Steelix, as I mentioned before. And I do have access to just like a really powerful Heavy Slam immediately. Switch to Tyranitar Heavy Slam. There's a lot that I could do. All right, let's see what they decide to go with lead-wise. Aerodactyl, Kangaskhan. I mean, this is a pretty good combo for me as I do lead the Rotom plus the Steelix. Do I need Rotom super around in this game? Not really. Do I need Light Screen up? Not. I mean, it's nice, but it's not necessary. I think my play here is either Tyranitar, click Heavy Slam, which I think it is probably just click go Tyranitar, because I don't want to risk Rotom taking too much damage, but they could, I don't know if they double edge immediately or they fake out. I guess I could just go for a Will-O-Wisp into Kangaskhan as well as a Heavy Slam. Heavy Slam should do some good damage to Kangaskhan still. I'm not really that worried about the Aerodactyl because all it can really do is flinch me. Which, granted, is something I'm going to have to play the odds with, but we'll see. They do Mega Kangaskhan immediately, so is this fake out? Is this double edge? We'll figure it out as we see. They could fake out the Steelix, or they fake out the Rotom. Or they could double edge immediately. We'll see. They did double edge immediately, it looks like. Rock Slide. Does double edge KO, though, because we are bold Rotom. They crit the Steelix as whatever. They do double edge immediately, so I could have went Tyranitar. Yeah, I thought Rotom would survive that. We actually get a Will-O-Wisp off, which I'm actually very shocked by, but we'll take it. We get a Wisp off into Kang. Alright, now it's burned. It's a lot less threatening. And we get a Heavy Slam up. Okay, what is this sorcery right here? Good damage to Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is very, very weakened at this point. Rotom still has value because in the Weather War, it's actually important to still have the sack. So I think I'm going to go out into Tyranitar, and I think I'm just going to go for a Heavy Slam into the Aerodactyl. I could Wide Guard here to prevent a Rock Slide, but I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, it's not necessary. We're going to see Kangaskhan retreat. Okay, interesting. Into the King Gambit, which is fine. which means that they're clicking Rock Slide here, which is absolutely okay here. And if they don't, the thing is, they brought Torkoal without Trick Room. And if they brought Torkoal without Trick Room, against Steelix, it's looking not great. Dual Wing Beat, so they don't miss, or maybe they're covering a Sinistra. Perfect. So I don't even have to worry about flinch chance. I just always get the Heavy Slam off. And we KO Aerodactyl, so it's probably Mega. So what is their Steelix game plan here? Because it's not looking good for them. Is it Torkoal coming in now? If it's Torkoal coming in now, I'm sacking Rotom. What was your Steelix game plan? You brought all physical attackers and no Steelix matchup. Okay. I don't even need Tyranitar in this game anymore. I'm just gonna knock off the Farigiraf and I'm just gonna go for high horsepower into the Kingambit. There's like no really downside here. They go for a Helping Hand. I mean, Low Kick's not doing that much damage to Steelix. Like it'll do maybe 60% max with the Helping Hand, but knock off into Farigiraf. It's also not Cobra Berry, so Citrus. Citrus, yep. They do go for Low Kick, but I actually did more than I thought to Steelix. I'm not gonna lie, that did more to Steelix than I thought. I do land high horsepower though. It does bring the Kingambit to Focus Sash range, but yeah. I think that this is pretty much a game over at this point as the Farigiraf goes down. All I need to do is probably just get Sinistra in and I'm pretty safe. They're gonna forfeit because I realize, yeah, I can't do anything. So, no Steelix answer. Very interesting game plan. Very interesting game plan. I think they need a Torkoal. All right, we have Eternal Floette, Charizard, Whimsicott, Basculegion, Glimmora, and Garchomp. Pretty standard hyper offense team. Gonna be a little bit scary. I do think this is a Mega Tyranitar game generally, but we'll see. We'll see. I do like Sneasler plus the Tyranitar in most cases against this team. The thing is, the Floette does make this a little bit strange to deal with. Matchup wise, I think Steelix plus Sinistra is still really good. Rotom's also pretty decent here, especially against the Garchomp, but I don't know. I think I bring the Steelix because it does have access to the wide guard, which is helpful, but also back up to Floette because I don't know if they're bringing Charizard again. They could bring Charizard or they could bring Floette. I got to figure out which Mega they have, and I think covering for both bases is important. We're going to see Whimsicott plus Glimmora, which is a very interesting lead here. Okay. Versus Sneasler Tyranitar. I don't think this lead is that good for them. Okay. I don't get what's stopping me from going for a Dire Claw plus a Dragon Dance. Yeah, they go for Tailwind, sure. Is it Floette back? I guess it's Floette back if this is the case. They go for Earth Power. No, they target Sneasler. Okay. Yeah, this should probably be Floette back then. Which means that the Trick Room mode is probably going to be really good here. We do get a Dire Claw off into the Whimsicott. Whimsicott goes down. Alright. I think this is fine. Yeah, it should be fine. It kind of depends on if I can KO Floette quickly or not. I think that's the main question. They're going to take some sand damage, and then I think they'll probably be in range of Rock Slide. So I think I know my plan here pretty much. So I got to sack my Sneasler to get a free switch here. So I'm just going to go for a Protect with my Tyranitar, and I'm going to go for... Yeah, I'm just going to Protect Tyranitar, sack my Sneasler, then bring in Sinistra, Rage Powder, Dragon Dance again, then double Protect on the final turn of Trick Room, and then it should be good. Because I don't know how they're beating the Mega Tyranitar after Floette takes a +2 Rock Slide. Unless this is a really bulky Floette, but I really doubt it on this HO kind of team. They go for Dazzling Gleam, not Light of Ruin. I really thought they were going to go for Light of Ruin. Okay. If they're not going for Light of Ruin, that's fine. That means I get extra turns with my Sinistra. We always go Sinistra here. You might be thinking, why not just go Steelix? Well, the problem with Steelix is Dazzling Gleam Earth Power probably blows me up from the Glamora. So I'm not risking that. I think Sinistra is always the sack here. As we're going to Rage Powder, and we're going to go for Dragon Dance here. I am pretty committed to Mega Evolving Tyranitar, so I'm curious if I want to go for the extra bulk here. Like, do I Mega Evolve just for the extra bulk? It's probably worth it. I think I Dragon Dance and Rage Powder here. Because I don't think I'll need the Sand Special Defense. Maybe I do need the Sand Special Defense boost for the Glamora later in the match, but we'll see. Let's figure out what's going on. Rage Powder. Light of Ruin? No, they Dazzle again. Okay, so my Sinistras, they crit my Tyranitar. Well, I'm very glad I Mega Evolved, because if I didn't Mega Evolve, I was going down to that. Sludge Bomb. Barely live. Citrus. Okay, good. And now we're +2 Tyranitar. I'm pretty sure the Rock Slides are going to nuke the field. Well, this is a really bad, actually, that I got crit on Tyranitar, because now I go down to Rough Skin, I think, from the Garchomp in the back. So I just double protect here as we kind of have to get this Rage Powder situation off. That is so unlucky, though. That is so unlucky. All right. Dazzling Gleam again. Power Gem. If it's Basky Legion, I might lose because of the crit. I think I'll lose because of the crit. If it's Bask in the back, if it's Garchomp, I can win. I think I need to flinch the Glamora, probably more likely. Actually, no. If I kind of have to call this. I think I just, you know what? I'm going to go for Matcha Gotcha, and I'm going to go for a Rock Slide. I didn't think they would protect either. The Shikale Floette, it does. The Glamora will go down to Matcha Gotcha after this. We get rid of Floette. Do we get a flinch? If we get a flinch, we auto win on the spot. Okay. You know what? We're going to take that. Because if it's Bass back, then the Aqua Jet was... I was just in range of the Aqua Jet because of the crit. If that didn't happen, we were in a really good spot. But you know what? We'll get the flinch. Here's the thing. It depends on who they target. If they target the Sinistra, then it's a game. If they target my Tyranitar, I KO the Glim and Matcha Gotcha, and then I think I have an end game of Sturdy Steelix plus Sinistra, which should be probably good into the Bask, I'd assume. I might have to get one call right, but I think it was really manageable. So you know what? We'll take it. All right, we have Tyranitar, Excadrill, Corviknight, Rotom-Wash, Sinistra, and Sneasler. So interesting Sand team because we're going to see both Sneasler and Sinistra on this, which we don't commonly see on these Sand teams. All right, kind of looks like a fusion team. Steelix is... The problem is the Rotom. The Rotom's really annoying to play against. Also, the... What do I want to go here? I think I want to lead Rotom. I think Rotom Tyranitar is probably like one of my best combos that I have. I want to bring Sneasler, but at the same time I don't, because I have very limited ways of hitting the Sinistra that I think I have to bring Tyranitar or Talonflame. So I think this makes sense to me that I just lead off of Rotom Tyranitar, try to get as much damage as I possibly can, and then try to do Steelix endgame. Steelix Sinistra seems pretty okay here. The Corviknight, that set is scary. If it's bulk up with lefties and roost, I do not have a great way of breaking through it other than Tyranitar. So this game plan, we might have to change a bit depending on what they lead here. Corviknight Rotom, okay. As we lead Rotom Tyranitar. This is probably a good spot lead-wise, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to go for a Thunderbolt immediately into Rotom. And probably just protect turn one. If they both up a Corviknight, I can Wisp it the next turn, so it's not that big of a deal. If Corviknight switches out to avoid the Will-Wisp, that's okay as well. I would really like this Thunderbolt damage into Rotom because I could potentially put it in range of knockoff from Mega Tyranitar the next turn, and that's definitely a play that I have access to. I might not need Mega Steelix in this game, depending on what the back is. So I think this is my best line here. They do retreat Corviknight, scared to Wisp. Is this Sinistra? Excadrill. That wouldn't have enjoyed taking a Wisp either, realistically, but sure. Okay, we protect our Tyranitar. We get Thunderbolt damage into the Rotom. Seems pretty bulky on the Rotom. Okay. I think that this is pretty reasonable, though, of a spot. Excadrill can't really do much here to me. I do like the idea of just Will-Wisp being the Excadrill and probably going Sinistra here. I don't think knockoff is close in the Rotom. I don't know if it's enough. Although realistically, is Excadrill going to attack here is the question. Excadrill's not in a really fantastic spot either. But I think I still Wisp the Excadrill because I don't need the damage in a Rotom this turn. I already got decent damage off in the Rotom with the Thunderbolt, so I think going out in a Sinistra is correct. Yeah, they go for Iron Head, which is actually perfect because I do get the burn, which is kind of massive. Nice. Then next turn I can go for Thunderbolt plus Matcha Gotcha, and that covers a lot of switches, so I do like this turn a lot here. They set up Light Screen. Okay, so the Rotom doesn't have Protect, so this means I should be able to get a free Thunderbolt Matcha Gotcha combination off. Okay, I like this spot, I think. They're going to forfeit, actually, because they kind of realize they're not in a great spot. So you know what? We'll take it. They were in a pretty tough one, I'd say. And I mean a pretty tough one to navigate. All right, we have the Archaladon, Pelipper, Eternal Floette, Sneasler, Garchomp, and the Basculegion. All right, gonna be a bit of a spooky one here. I'm bringing Rotom here. It's good in the Pelipper, but it's really not. I mean, it's good into Bass too, I suppose, and Garchomp, but it's not really necessary. Sneasler is only good for the Floette, pretty bad against everything else. Trying to think if this is a defensive lead or not. I think I lead Rotom Steelix. It's a crazy lead against this kind of team, but I think it kind of punishes a lot. Because if they lead Pelipper, I can just switch into Tyranitar, which is fine. And it does threaten the Floette immediately, which is a pretty big problem that I'm looking at. Because if I lead Sneasler, I don't really like Sneasler as a lead because I'm trying to get Trick Room up. And we get threatened by Garchomp. It's useless in the Basque. I think this lead is probably fine. We'll Sinistra Tyranitar back. Because we need Tyranitar for the Sand, and we need the Sinistra to set up Trick Room, as well as the recovery. Sneasler only really helps with Floette and Archaladon, but so does Steelix. And Steelix can sweep under Trick Room, while Sneasler doesn't really sweep my opponent's team. It kind of doesn't do that much against the Garchomp or the Basculegion. Talonflame does absolutely nothing in this matchup, so we will not even bring it. But I hope we do get to find one Swords Dance Talonflame matchup. We'll see what my opponent decides to bring, though, lead-wise. Archaladon Sneasler. I mean, this is a perfect lead for my Steelix. So we're going to go for a Wisp into the Sneasler, and we're going to go for a high horsepower immediately into the Archaladon. If they close combat immediately, I don't think close combat can knock out Steelix unless they have Aura Spear double up from Arch. Unfortunately, I do not have any information, so maybe I could protect, but if they go for Wisp, that's really bad for me. We're going to see a Heart Swap immediately into the Pelipper, which is an interesting play. Okay. So are they going for Electroshot? That's fine by me if they do. Alright, so it's Mega Steelix in. We Wisp the Pelipper. Do I want to set up a Light Screen the next turn? Maybe. Electroshot into Rotom, that makes sense. Yep. Does a lot. I do land a high horsepower, which is good. Good damage to Arch. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not in Hydro Pump range, but I wouldn't go for the Hydro Pump anyway because it's a Madman play, I think. Do I want to read the Pelipper to switch out? Because Tyranitar is super obvious. Tyranitar is super obvious of a play here. But I think I still go for it anyway. I think they protect Arch and probably swap out Pelipper into the Sneasler, but if they don't, they get so punished, and even if I get to play it wrong, it's not even that terrible because the Sneasler loses a potential Focus Sash to the Sand, and I still am struggling to see how they KO the Steelix this upcoming turn, so I don't think it's terrible, but we'll see. They also doesn't look like they switched out the Pelipper, so if they try to Weather Ball, this is not going to work for them. Okay, no, they did switch out, okay. They're just really slow Pelipper. Sneasler back in. Did they protect? They read the switch, I think, or maybe they just wanted for the Weather War, but I don't get why they would Electroshock here. Okay. We do hit another high horsepower, so our Childon goes down. That's fantastic. Okay. Huge knockout. This is... So I'm up material, which is nice. Basky Legion. Okay. There's a bunch of mind games that are going to be up in the upcoming turn, which is fine. Kind of curious on if this is Scarf Bask or not. I think we just sack Rotom here and we probably just protect our Steelix. We don't want to risk Wave Crash coming out into the Steelix slot. So we bring out the Rotom. So these are going to protect, fearing, I guess, Heavy Slam at that point. What's the... Oh, they don't protect it. What? Okay. Interesting. Wave Crash doesn't knock out Steelix in one shot, I'm pretty sure. I think it barely misses knockout. I have a few plays. I could go out into Sinistra and click Thunderbolt. They could last Respect Close Combat, but that's fine. I think if I switch in Sinistra for the Steelix slot, Rotom doesn't live Close Combat. I think I'm just going to Thunderbolt Heavy Slam this Sneasler spot because I get the knockout, I think, in most cases. Okay, they close combat to my Rotom, so Rotom goes down, and I should get a Heavy Slam off in this in response. And then Tyranitar is looking in an okay spot, but we'll see. They Wave Crash. I should live. Yeah, perfect. And now I feel like I'm in a great spot, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Heavy Slam comes out in this. The Sneasler takes a knockout. Beautiful. So now it's Pelipper left. Endgame's a little bit spooky, but I think we should be fine. We're going to go out into Sinistra here. Get the recovery on the Steelix, which is not really necessary at all, but it helps. Because I think all we need to do is get Tyranitar next to Sinistra. Then we can click Rage Powder Knockoff, or we could spam Rock Slide or Dragon Dance. Both work here. So we protect our Sinistra, and we're going to go for this sack on the Steelix to go for high horsepower, I assume. I guess Bass could protect here, but it's like, what does Pelipper do? Tailwind here? Because Hurricane doesn't matter. If they kill the Steelix, that's exactly what I want, but we'll see. This could be Last Respect Hurricane as well. We don't know what the Bask item is. We only know that it is... I think it's Swift Swim. Based on that Wave Crash damage, I think it's Mystic Water Swift Swim. I think Adaptability would have done a bit more with the Wave Crash. But we'll see. We do go for the Protect. They go for Wave Crash. I mean, they take more recoil, and now they're in range of potentially Rock Slide from Tyranitar, so that's actually good. A Hurricane. Now we go Tyranitar. I mean, the game is not over. There's definitely some scary stuff that could be happening. But I think overall we're okay. I think the play is always to Rage Powder here. The question is, what am I doing with Tyranitar? Am I clicking Dragon Dance or I click Knockoff? Because if I get this read wrong, it goes a little bit ugly. I think I Dragon Dance here. Because I don't think they ever Tailwind here with Pelipper. And at worst, I have to play like a mind game the next turn. So let's Dragon Dance and let's Rage Powder here. I think this is always Hurricane, Last Respect, or they swap. Or I mean Protect, yeah. Protect. Okay, if I live Hurricane or I dodge Hurricane because this is insane, so it's not accurate Hurricane, I'm in a really good spot. I don't think they Tailwind because I do have the option to potentially Trick Room. Oh, they actually did Tailwind, but Tailwind doesn't really matter to me either. So you know what, I'll take it. Because I can just knock off the Basket Legion Rage Powder. So even though it didn't work out, like, I don't know, I don't think it changed much for me. Like my win con didn't change while their win con slightly bit better, but not really anything. I just Rage Powder knockoff here. Because they burned their Protect without getting the damage and Sinistra. Maybe they thought I was going to double Protect. But yeah, no, I just go for a Rage Powder. Now they're hoping for the mistake of me clicking Wide Guard, but I always knock off here. Yeah, and Rage Powder. This is Last Respect. Does this KO me? I don't think this is Adaptability Bass, because usually... Oh, well, it did. I guess it's since it's not Kasib and I'm not like the craziest bulky. There is a big difference between Adaptability and Swift Swim. I do want to say this is Swift Swim though. I do get the KO on Bass, so I do win the game because now I can knock off the Pelipper and secure it here. Because the it is Mystic Water, so I think it's the Mystic Water Swift Swim variant, which is not surprising to me. Because that damage on Steelix made so much sense with Swift Swim. I guess Last Respect is so strong move. I mean, it's 150 base power after all. Yeah, it was 150 base power at that point. So yeah, it actually makes sense that Chaos Sinistra even found adaptability boost. Go for knockoff in the Pelipper. I KO'd the Pelipper, and that is good game. So yeah, I was surprised that they went for the Electric Shot and swapped that Pelipper, but maybe they just wanted for the Weather War, but they didn't see the Tyranitar coming in and just going for the high horsepower, which ended up really working out for me, because I didn't think the Pelipper had a way to threaten Steelix. Alright, we're going to see Kangaskhan, Blastoise, Farigiraf, Torkoal, Vivillon, and Basket Legion. Alright, so is this going to be the standard Scarf Vivillon team that we've seen on ladder, or is this going to be an adjustment? Actually kind of concerning because I don't think the matchup's incredible here. It's playable, but it's not amazing, I'd say. What do I want to go against this team? Talonflame, not the best mon here because there's Farigiraf to keep in mind. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. Is it Sinistra plus Rotom? Might be Sinistra plus Rotom. I think Sinistra Rotom lead is pretty fair. Because the Vivillon can't Sleep Powder because of redirection with Rage Powder, and Rotom's pretty good into the Blastoise with T-Bolt. Which I think is pretty good for me. I think I bring Tyranitar and Steelix in the back. Because Steelix is still pretty good with access to Wide Guard. And then Tyranitar, of course, is going to be pretty important because of the Weather War. So this is a tricky matchup. I'm not exactly sure if this is the right kind of stuff to bring against the Torkoal teams, but we'll see. Blastoise Vivillon, not surprising, because I do think this was a pretty threatening combination for me, and Blastoise or Sinistra plus the Rotom. So I don't think they Sleep Powder immediately. I'm just going to go for a Thunderbolt into the Blastoise. And I think I'm going to just raw Protect with Sinistra. This could be Fake Out plus Hurricane immediately. I don't think you're ever clicking Sleep Powder because if I Rage Powder, you just lose on the spot. This could be Dark Pulse immediately, which is what I'm suspecting. So I'm just going to go for Protect with Sinistra and just Thunderbolt. Alright, Blastoise Mega Balls. This is either Fake Out Hurricane or... I think maybe Dark Pulse could be a play as well. Let's see. So we protect Sinistra. They should never sleep out of my Rotom, right? Yeah. Okay. So I do get a Thunderbolt off into the Blastoise. Oh, they go for Spout too. So I get the damage off, which is beautiful. Okay. Very nice. Very, very nice. And here's a Thunderbolt into the Blastoise. Huge damage. Very much appreciated. Okay. They're probably going to Dark Pulse now to Sinistra, so I think I'm just going to go for Thunderbolt into the Blastoise slot, and I'm going to bring out Tyranitar, because Tyranitar is in an okay spot. I would like to keep Sinistra around, because having the Mons resource is still very valuable, and I could obviously heal up Tyranitar if I really need to. The Hurricane Dark Pulse shouldn't do too much damage here. They go for Hurricane into Tyranitar. Yeah, as you can see, we're eating that up with the Sand boost. They did Dark Pulse, beautiful. So I am getting them on these calls here. Tyranitar took some damage, but we're in a pretty good spot. And here comes a Thunderbolt into the Blastoise. So Blastoise goes down, fantastic. All right. If it's Basky Legion coming in, I switch to Sinistra for the Tyranitar to get Hospitality on the Rotom, and then I should live Last Respect easily, and then I can fire off a Thunderbolt. Yep. So we're going to go for Thunderbolt, and we're going to go for a swap to Sinistra. They could Hurricane, Last Respect, double up, but they shouldn't KO. They're going to retreat Vivian. That makes sense. This is into Furigrave. That makes sense as well. If I KO Basket Legion, I do win with my Steelix or Tyranitar at that point. So Sinistra will come in, get the Hospitality boost. Also, Sand will get rid of that Sash, which is pretty big. They do go for Last Respect. Beautiful. Rotom meets. Rotom fires off. The Thunderbolt. Good damage. They have a limited amount of turns on the field now. Beautiful. All right, looking pretty good here to win. Because I had 3 turns of Sandstorm. That is putting on a lot of pressure. I think this turn we go for Thunderbolt and we go for Machagacha. Even if they protect Psychic the Rotom, that's fine. Yeah, because if they go for Last Respect, they target the Sinistra. Sinistra goes down, but I get the KO on Bask, and now the game is just over. They can't beat the combination of Steelix plus Tyranitar. Beautiful. Unless their Furigraph, for some reason, was timid and they changed it, but I do KO the Bask. I outspeed Modest Furigraph, max speed, so goodbye Basky Legion. They go for Psychic. We're going to trade and go down to our final 2. But Vivian and Furigraph against Steelix and Tyranitar, doesn't seem likely that they're gonna win. Let me know in the comments who you think wins. Even if Tyranitar is chipped, I think this is looking pretty bad for them. Because Vivian comes in. You know, maybe if I had Sneasler in the back as the last, maybe this could be winnable for my opponent, but not with both of these monsters on the field. I can just go for a Heavy Slam plus a... I think I just... Do I knock the Farig? Was it Cobra or Citrus? I think I just Rock Slide, hit the Vivian, you know? Just hit the Vivian, get rid of Vivian, don't have to worry about Sleep Powder, and I'd win the game. Sleep Powder and a Tyranitar, but there's no way Furigraph has anything for Steelix. Is this some low kick on the Furigraph? That's not going to do any damage if they change the team. It's just Thunderbolt, yeah. Tyranitar just eats. Heavy Slam going to come out into the Vivian. Absolutely going to slam this Vivian. And Vivian is just going to go down. And now it's a lone Giraffe versus the Iron Giraffe and the... I don't know, Godzilla. All right, beautiful. Yep, was able to get the lead right. Kind of incentivized them not to click Sleep Powder, so I was just able to get damage to Blastoise. Very solid. All right, we're gonna see Charizard, Eternal Flood, Incineroar, Sinistra, Garchomp and Aegislash. This is the team that Zine used to get top 4 at a VR tournament, and then it won the Korea Nationals. What do I want to go against this team? Because I had to play very mid-ground depending on which Mega they decide to go for. It's either Flood or Charizard. Probably going to go with the Charizard mode, I'd say. I really want to say no Steelix being brought here. Talonflame could be nice here. Talonflame unironically could be nice here. I just don't know if I really want to. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try the Talonflame in the back plan. I think I'm going to do Sneasel Tyranitar and then have in the back Talonflame and Sinistcha. Sinistcha the right call. I think having the recovery on the Tyranitar is kind of important. The question is, which version are they? Because if the Aegislash is the original version, which is the Zine version, it's the close combat Tyranitar with no King Shield. If it's the one that won Japan or Korea Nats, it's Iron Head with King Shield. They're both Focus Sash though. So that's gonna be a big question, but I think this is an okay plan. Rotom's okay, but I don't think it's necessary. I do outspeed Adamant Aegislash, but I think this is probably better to go with the Mega Tyranitar Gamer plan. Let's see what they decide. And let's see, Talonflame could put in some work. It is Charizard. Okay, so I think I got it right. I don't think there's Flood involved. So Sneasler plus the Tyranitar is looking pretty good here. Oh, if I had coaching, this would be so nice. The problem is they do have access to the... Oh wait, they don't have... Depends on the set. If it's the Korean Nats version, they don't have Wide Guard. Kind of spooky. I think this just fake out the Charizard and probably just knock the Aegislash. This could be really risky because it could have been a lot of different plays here. But let's see if I get the call right here. Okay. Is the Aegislash... Okay, that's definitely the frail of Aegislash, but the question is, are you Iron Head or are you fighting move? This is a bit... it's close combat. Okay, yeah. I risked it too much. I can still win, but that is really bad. I had to protect probably turn 1 and then threaten the Rock Slide. It's winnable, but it's like not likely. Sometimes you have to take a gamble when you don't know the sets. Unfortunately, this gamble did not pay off. Gonna go Talonflame here. We're just gonna go for a Dire Claw into the Charizard, and we're gonna go for a Brave Bird into the Aegislash. We Brave Bird because if it's close combat, it shouldn't be the King Shield variant, unless they change the team, which I guess is very possible here. If it was the Iron Head version, I had a plan in mind, which was going Sinistcha, Mega Evolving Tyranitar, and clicking Rock Slide. Unfortunately, that's not gonna be the case anymore. Alright, let's see. Did they Mega Evolve with Charizard or did they switch out Charizard? I don't know. Probably attack here, I'd assume, but you never know. Unfortunately, I think I'm losing to Garchomp. Because it is Scarf Garchomp. So we do see the Mega Evolution from Charizard. Unless I get Dire Claw Sleep, but even if I get Dire Claw Sleep, I still think it's really unlikely I win. Okay, we get a Brave Bird off and Aegislash. The reason I have to is because I have no way to outspeed the Aegislash and KO it other than Talonflame, so I need to get rid of it. Okay. Here's a Dire Claw. If they Water Ball, maybe I have a chance. Okay, we do get to sleep. We do get to sleep. Garchomp in. Okay. Depends on what they lock into, because we know it's Scarf. I think I just Dire Claw to Charizard and probably protect with Talonflame, or do I Swords Dance here? No, I always protect. This should be Rock Slide. I don't think you go for anything else. Let's see. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Okay. This might be still doable though. Actually, no, I had to read what they locked into. They woke up. Weather Ball. I needed to Swords Dance that turn. I guess I could have protected to Scout, but I don't think it was changing much there. Also, I think Stomping could have been a potential roll, but it's probably heavily in my opponent's favor. What'd I do here? If it's Incineroar, I do lose. If it's Sinistra, maybe I can win. But it's like super unlikely, I'm pretty sure. We're gonna go for Brave Bird and we're gonna go for Machagacha. Garchomp switches out. Yeah, it's Scarf usually, so that makes sense. Incineroar is the final. Yeah, that makes sense. If Brave Bird KOs, but even if Brave Bird KOs, I don't think we have a win because they would be able to just Rock Slide, lock in, and if they just hit everything, I do lose. Also, yeah, the Charizard lives the Brave Bird. So I made some gambles, but unfortunately did not pay off. I was really hoping that this would be the Korea Nats version, because the Korea Nats version was a lot easier to handle. Unfortunately, against this version, yeah, I have to play very differently because of the fact that the Aegislash actually has a way that can Oko Tyranitar, which is the biggest difference. Because they have a way to Oko Tyranitar, it makes it a lot more trickier. So, yeah, like, was there anything I could have really done? I would have probably had to drop Sneasler in this game. Yeah, I would have probably had to drop Sneasler in this game, and even if I brought, like, Rotom, I don't even think it's that great, realistically, against their team. I think, but I would have probably needed Rotom over the Sneasler, and I would have only done that, really, because I think Sneasler's still fine for the fake-out pressure lead-wise, so I can get Dragon Dance up. Again, as long as it's not Close Combat Aegislash, but it's Close Combat Aegislash, so I had to gamble on which one it was, and I know Ladder does run the Korean... I've run into the Korean Nats version more than the Zine version, so yeah, I was willing to take the risk. All right, we have Sneasler, Sinistra, Incineroar, King Gambit, Eternal Flood, and Gyarados. Interesting. Steelix can be really good here. Rotom Wash is fantastic because I can burn a lot of the mons. The only problem is I'm not really a big fan of dealing with Incineroar, Sinistra, Floette when they have double Intimidate, which is concerning. I do think Rotom Wash is probably a good lead. I do like Rotom plus Steelix. I wonder if it's Mega Gyarados dual Mega, which I wouldn't be surprised by, but this is going to be a bit tricky. Eternal Flood could be really good against this stuff. I mean, Talonflame could be really good into this stuff. Maybe that's the play. Maybe it's better than the Steelix mode. You know what? Let's do a Talonflame mode. Let's do Talonflame plus Sneasler or Rotom here. I think it's probably with Sneasler. Did I bring Tyranitar in the bag? Is this like a no mega game? I can see this being a no mega game with Rotom Sinistra. And you know what? I'm okay with playing into that. Let's see. If they bring Gyarados and they decide to Mega Volt the Gyarados, I have to change plans immediately. But granted, it's not like terrible because I still have Rotom Wash, which is good. But if they lead Gyarados and go for it, it could become a bit ugly. Let's see. Sneasler Gyarados. Okay, this is not, unfortunately, what I really want to happen. All right, Talonflame Sneasler on deck. Granted, I guess this is still fine. Do get the wider active. I mean, this is just going to be quite a bit of rotations, isn't it? I think I just go for a Sword Stance and Fake Out. They switch out to Sneasler versus Incineroar. That's fine. Alright. I mean, I do get back to neutral with my Talonflame, which is probably better than a lot of things that could have happened here, but sure. I definitely want to go Rotom Wash for the Sneasler slot. The question is, what am I doing with my Talonflame? Am I clicking Protect to preserve the Gale Wings, or am I going for a second Swords Dance? I mean, it's probably just better to... I think it's better to go for a Swords Dance here. I mean, they probably are just going to fake it. I don't think they ever Waterfall, though. I think they're always Dragon Dancing here. They Mega Evolve immediately, which is surprising because Close Combat is a thing that can happen to this Gyarados still. So I don't know why they Mega Evolved. Are they attacking the Sneasler slot? Maybe they are. They fake out the Sneasler. Are they doubling it? Swords Dance. That's a greedy Dragon Dance. Okay. Like, I am shocked by the level of greed here. But you know what? We'll take it. Brave Bird KOs the Gyarados. I'm going for Brave Bird into Gyarados, and I'm going to go for Hydro Pump into the Incineroar. Because if Sneasler comes in, I can always just Brave Bird that slot. I think this is always protect and either Parting Shot, or they're going to protect Heart Switch to Sneasler. Both make sense here to me. But that is... Why did they Mega the Gyarados? Okay, they protect, which is fine. Are they gonna Parting Shot? I do land Hydro, which is actually pretty big. So the Instant has like less chances to switch in. Citrus on the Instant, makes sense. Parting the Rotom. So the Talonflame is at +2 still. Okay. I'm very confused by the sequencing of events, but I'll definitely take it. Sneasler in. I'm pretty sure Rotom doesn't go down to +1 Lash Out. It's just Earthquake, but I don't think it's Earthquake on this. Because you probably have multiple mons that don't have Protect. I'm just going to go for a Wisp and a Protect. Even if they fake out, Lash Out my Rotom, they have to respect it. They fake out Talonflame this time. Okay. Oh, all right, got him. Huge Wisp Hit. Huge Wisp Hit. Okay, massive. Okay, that Gyarados being burned is massive for me, and I mean massive. I get Swords Dance again, but there's like no reason to really set up a Swords Dance here. I'm just gonna Wisp the Sneasler and I'm gonna go for Brave Bird. This is probably Protect Dire Claw or maybe Instant. Oh, they didn't Protect either, so I get a Brave Bird off. Does this KO? Yeah. Let's go, Talonflame. All right. We get the Talonflame action going on, which is massive. They went for Coaching. Ooh, I thought they might have Protect Coaching as a play as well, but that's why I was debating about potentially going for just a Wisp here and a Swords Dance again, but you know what? We'll take it. We'll take it. Now the game is over because they're going to forfeit. Yep. Because they were not able to protect the Gyarados. Interesting targets. I think they probably tried to hard read on the Gale Wings, and then they were like, okay, he's not protecting this time. I actually get the call right, and it just works out massive. All right, we have King Gambit, Dragonite Sylveon, Charizard, Garchomp, and Whimsicott. So, double Mega, or I guess they have triple Mega options, but Garchomp probably not a Mega on this. Dragonite and Charizard probably going to be the dual Megas here. What am I going against this team? I think Tyranitar is good. Rotom's pretty solid. I don't really... Sneasler's okay. It's not necessary, but it's like good. I feel like Rotom plus... Rotom Tyranitar with Steelix Sinistcha is pretty solid against my opponent's team. Sneasler I don't think is that great of a lead because there's like so many things that could just threaten a lot of damage into it. I think this is pretty alright. I could lead Sinistcha Rotom, but the problem is like, against Charizard, that's an awful plan. So I have Tyranitar. If I had to Mega Evolve Tyranitar, I will. I don't think I need Mega Steelix to win the game, but Mega Steelix is pretty good against this team because Heavy Slam does so much damage against everything on my opponent's side. I just got to get rid of the Charizard ideally. I could have led maybe the Steelix But I don't want to lead Steelix into this team, I'm pretty sure. I think we want to set up our screen with Rotom. Try to figure out a position to get the Sinistra into Trick Room and then get Steelix in position. Charizard Garchomp, okay. Versus Tyranitar and Rotom Wash. I can't protect with Rotom, which is super unfortunate here. I think we go for a Light Screen. Is it Light Screen go Sinistra? No, I think it's Light Screen Protect. I could Dragon Dance, but I don't think it's ever worth it. I don't know. This is a weird spot because I don't think they should Mega Evolve Charizard immediately because if I Mega Evolve Tyranitar, they just lose on the spot. Yeah, they Protect. So I am able to get a Light Screen up, which is massive. I could have burned a Chomp, but I don't know if they were going to double Protect to scout for my Protects. Or they go for Earthquake immediately. Beautiful. Okay, perfect. Nice. We get a Light Screen off with the Rotom in pretty good shape now. My biggest threat is the... Is it Garchomp or is it Charizard? They're both technically threatening. They're not going to Heat Wave. They're going to Solar Beam a slot if they attack. They could also retreat to Charizard as well, which is also a thing that they could make play-wise. I think I go for a Wisp here and switch to Sinistra. Or I could Thunderbolt the Charizard. Actually, Thunderbolt the Charizard isn't a bad play here. I'm going to Thunderbolt the Charizard, go Sinistra. I think it's likely that they Solar Beam or Swap is actually good for me too. All right, what's coming in? Whimsicott. Okay, I don't mind that. I wish I got a Wisp off, but this is still pretty good for me because I can Trick Room now with Sinistra, unless it's Taunt on the Whimsicott. As they go for Earthquake, so they Earthquake themselves, which is perfect. I mean, this would have been perfect if I got the Wisp off. This works out pretty well for me, I'd say. Yeah, I got a Thunderbolt off into the Whimsicott. Damage on Whimsicott's still pretty nice because that's probably one of their few high horsepower switch-ins that they brought in this match. It's also going to be in range of Rock Slide pretty soon. We're going to go for Trick Room and we're going to go for a Wisp here into the Garchomp. If they Encore my Rotom into Thunderbolt, so be it. It's not that bad. I could have also hard swapped into Steelix, which is also another play that I could have went for, but I don't mind getting the burn on the Garchomp first and then going Steelix afterward. So let's see what they decide to go for, but right now I'm in a pretty comfortable spot. Garchomp going to retreat Charizard? Sylveon, okay, that's fine. They go for Moonblast and get some chip damage on my Rotom. That makes sense. And we get a Wisp off into Sylveon. So the Sylveon's going to take some damage every single turn, which is nice. How much damage do I want to take in general in this match? I could protect the Sinistra, go out in a Steelix, or I could hard swap the Sinistra into my Steelix and click Thunderbolt with Rotom. I think this is just always a Steelix and Protect play. Because you never want the Encore happening in the Sinistra to reverse the Trick Room. Granted, I'm pretty sure that my Trick Room turns aren't going to be super great because they're probably going to get in Charizard eventually. And I probably get limited KOs. But granted, they are not in the best spot right now. I might not even Mega Steelix and just go for regular Heavy Slam because Mega Tyranitar could win the game on its own at this point, if I position it well. So we will protect our Sinistra here. Encore does come out into the Sinistra slot and they go for a Hyper Voice. Yep. So Steelix is eating that up. Yeah, Steelix ate that up. I think I Heavy Slammed a Sylveon and Hard Switch to Rotom. Or I could go Hard Tyranitar too. Hard Tyranitar is not a bad play. It is a bad play though. Actually, it's a bad play if they Moonblast. Actually, I'm just gonna go Rotom. Rotom's super safe. Because it also covers the Garchomp coming in later on. We bring out the Rotom. Whimsicott protects. Did they protect the Sylveon too, or? Okay, that's fine. I mean, next turn I threaten to double KO with Heavy Slam plus Thunderbolt, and I can double slot. The question is, do I want a Mega or not with Steelix? Because I would get some pretty impressive damage off into the Garchomp. Light Screen wears off. I could also reset Light Screen, which is also pretty fair play. I think it's Heavy Slam the Sylveon. I think it's regular form, right? And then go Tyranitar, Mega Evolve with Tyranitar in the late game. I think I Heavy Slam Hydro Pump the Sylveon because I guarantee a KO in the Sylveon slot, other than Garchomp, I think. But I get good damage into Garchomp. I don't know why I was having like a vocal problem, but yeah, like I still get really good damage into Garchomp, which I'll take. Here's a Heavy Slam, really good damage. Hydro Pump, also good damage. It might be Scarf with how it's doing that, and we do see Moonblast come out into Rotom, which is fine. I'm guessing this is Protect. I mean, I just Heavy Slammed the Garchomp slot, and I'm debating about whether I Hydro Pump the Garchomp reading, because I do think it might be Scarf, or I just Light Screen. I think I just set up a Light Screen, though. I mean, Light Screen's pretty fair, because I set up for the Charizard, which is nice. I think Tyranitar on itself can Mega and win this. Like, I could have won this with maybe Steelix if I just Mega Heavy Slammed immediately, but then Charizard came in for free, and I don't really like that spot. I don't think the Garchomp's Protect on this team. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. Let's see if I'm right or wrong. They protect Whimsicott? Yep. Is the Garchomp protecting as well or no? If they protect, it's fine. But yeah, the Garchomp doesn't have protect, it looks like, so I do get the Heavy Slam Alpha. I'm like pretty confident it might be Scarf Garchomp at this point. Steelix took some damage, but you know what? We're in a really good shape. Tyranitar is going to come in and have a really fun time, so we do get the Light Screen up. I can sack Rotom at this point because Rotom doesn't really do much in this game. So I think I just protect. I sack my Rotom Wash to get a Thunderbolt off into the Charizard, I'm pretty sure. And then we spam Wide Guard Rock Slide. Yeah, I like that a lot. So we're going to protect, and you know what? We might as well just Hydro Pump or no, do we Hydro Pump? It punishes a Charizard if they non-Mega Evolve Heat Wave, which I could see. But yeah, we're going to go for Protect and Thunderbolt. They could Encore me and just Heat Wave, which is fine too, but I don't mind that. Yeah, like that's fine. Maybe I should have went Tyranitar instead, but I still think that is pretty acceptable. Go for Heat Wave, sure. Also, the game frame rate is just like crashing out. The game frame rate is just crashing out. Light Screen, okay. I just need to get Tyranitar in safely. I think I might as well just go Tyranitar on the Steelix slot, and I'm gonna go for a Light Screen. I'm gonna try to sack Rotom this way because I don't want Rotom to get caught by the. I don't want the Rotom slot to get caught by the Moonblast. And I think this is fine because if they decide to go for Heat Wave, it works. If they go for Weather Ball, that's fine. It's like the only play that this doesn't cover for is Solar Beam the Steelix slot, which I don't think is likely here, but we'll see. We got the Tyranitar. Sand is up. Did they Mega Evolve this time or did they stay in regular form? They stay in regular form to Encore, which is fine by me. Heat Wave. Okay. Nice. Okay, feeling pretty good about this spot. 2 turns of light screen still left. I like the idea of just going for a... Did I read a double protect in Dragon Dance, or did I just spam Rock Slide? I think I just spam Rock Slide, Mega Evolve here to be safe. And I guess I swap out to Sinistra because I can redirect Solar Beam the next turn if I really need to. Might as well keep Rotom around because it can be sacked here because I don't really need it because Garchomp went down. So we get a bit from the Hospitality. Let's see if there's a Mega. No Mega from Charizard means it probably... It's either slower than my Tyranitar, which I'd be a bit shocked by, or they went for Double Protect, which is fine too. Oh, and if they don't Double Protect, they just lose, I'm pretty sure, on the spot. Yeah, they're going to get Tailwind up, but I think this is completely fine. Okay. Goodbye, Whimsicott, and we should be fine. Oh, I guess Hyper Beam Whimsicott can be a little bit suspicious, but no, I think we're okay. The question is, I guess, do they Mega Evolve now or not? Because if they Mega Evolve to get rid of my special defense boost, I could see it. I think this is into Rotom and Protect the Sinistra. Yes. I guess the upcoming turns are going to be a little bit questionable, but I still think that this is... The reason is they could delay Mega Evolution on the Charizard. And they delay Mega Evolution on the Charizard, it gets a little bit weird. I don't know if they delay Mega Evolution or not this turn. Okay, they did just Mega Evolve. Okay, so I should be good because that means they didn't get the Sand Special Defense Boost drop. And the reason I keep the Sinistra around is because I can still save it for later, which is good. All right. Go for Heat Wave. I think I'm going to use Steelix Wide Guard to play around this position, probably. Go for Hyper Voice. Because the thing is, if I go Tyranitar, they can go for Heat Wave plus Hyper Beam. And I think that's a pretty ugly spot. Like, I need to still allow 2 turns of Tailwind, right? So I think my best play here is to go on a Steelix. And I'm going to click Wide Guard. Because they're not going to Hyper Beam. They're not going to waste a Hyper Beam here on these Pokemon. I mean, my best play is just a Wide Guard here and swap out into my Tyranitar. Yeah. Because if they Weather Ball, that means... Like, here's the thing. If they Weather Ball, that means that it's going to be a Rock type, so it can't do any damage here. They're probably going to Heat Wave, and if they Heat Wave, it gets blocked by the Wide Guard, and they would Hyper Voice here. So... I'm like pretty confident what I can do here is delay the turns of Tailwind or stall out the turns of Tailwind by going for this route because I really don't think they'll ever click Hyper Beam in this scenario because they won't click Hyper Beam because they need the Sylveon to get the big Hyper Beam off in the Tyranitar. If they don't get a Hyper Beam off into my Tyranitar, they just lose the game. So that's why I'm going for this route. We're going to go Tyranitar. And Wide Guard. This should be Heat Wave. They could Weather Ball and Fury, but it won't do that much damage. As long as they don't Hyper Beam catching the switch, but I really don't think it's likely. Okay, they go for Weather Ball. Tyranitar eats. Oh, it's Moonblast. But they target the Steelix. Okay, we're good. I mean, Moonblast wasn't KOing my Tyranitar anyway, and I was still dancing around my opponent regardless, but this works out pretty well for me. Okay. We could still miss, granted. Like, we could still miss in Fury, but we should be good here. I'm going to go into Steelix, and I'm probably just going to spam Rock Slide at this point. Because if it's Moonblast, it shouldn't be Hyper Beam. It's probably Quick Attack is the last. So I just go for the Rock Slide and I should be good here. Wait, what? Huh? I've never had that happen before. Please tell me it just made the play. I mean, I locked in my move already before. Okay, I never had that happen before in Champions. Sure. Hospitality, get my recovery back. They Solar Beam. Why they Solar Beam? Okay. Hyper Voice. Wait. Did I miscount the turn to Trick Room? Maybe I did. I might have miscounted the turns of Trick Room. Granted, this is still fine. I didn't think they were going to throw off a Moonblast Weather Ball into Tyranitar. Alright, I get rid of the Charizard. And I guess that's a win, but I mean, that's confusing. They actually have one more turn of Tailwind? I think they did. I think I miscounted. Yeah, I miscounted. I didn't think they were going to go for the Weather Ball plus Hyper Voice because Protect Tyranitar was a bit obvious, but even then, that might have been a bit too ambitious of me. But yeah, I do get the win. They do forfeit. Okay. Crazy endgame scenario, but yeah. I think Steelix could have won this too, but I felt Tyranitar line was safer, and I'll go for the safer line. Alright, we have Gardevoir with Sneasler, Volcarona, Basculegion, and King Gambit Dragonite. What is this? This reminds me of a Reg H team. Like, legitimately, it's a Reg H team. Volcarona? Haven't seen that mon in forever. Okay. What are we going here? I think Rotom Wash is pretty good here against my opponent's team. I do like Rotom. Rotom Tyranitar seems alright here. I don't mind it because if I get rid of Volcarona, my Steelix is in a really good spot to attack stuff. So I think Rotom plus Tyranitar is pretty solid. Have Sinistcha in the back with Steelix, I'm pretty sure. I could also lead Steelix. I guess leading Steelix isn't terrible. Like, what's their best lead? Sneasler? Like, yeah, actually, I don't mind it. I think I'm going to lead Rotom Steelix with Tyranitar plus Sinistcha in the back. Tyranitar's not a bad lead, but the thing is, I don't think you ever lead Volcarona into the Tyranitar stuff, so I'm thinking that this is probably like, they could lead Gardevoir with something else like the Sneasler. I don't think they're leading, yeah, they didn't lead something super weak to the Tyranitar. That's what I thought was going to happen. Okay. They lead Basculegion and King Gambit. This is a pretty good lead for me here because I can just go for Protect Wisp. The lead Basculegion tends to think it's not Sash. So I think we just go for a Wisp here into the Basculegion and go for Protect. We don't Mega Evolve in case we want to save our Mega for something else. They could Flip Turn. Flip Turn's fine. It's not that big of a deal. I guess if they Flip Turn to Volcarona, it gets a little bit... I guess Flip Turn Volcarona and clicking... Ooh, okay, it's Protect Basque. Interesting to note, okay. So I could have whisked the Gambit, but that's alright. Did they have SD? Rock Tomb Gambit, interesting. Not what I anticipated. Okay. Is this Assurance? I do really want to Wisp off. Rock Tomb makes me think it's Sash. Probably not Scarf, it's probably Sash. I think we go for a Wisp here into... Is it Wisp go Sinistcha? I'm just worried if I lose Sinistcha, but I guess it's not necessary to win. I think I just Wisp and go Sinistcha. This could be Kowtow Wave Crash. I'm not happy about this. I really wish I whisked a Gambit turn 1. But alright, Sinistcha in. I probably should have too, because there was a flip turn possibility as well. They go for Wave Crash. This could be Wave Crash low kick too. We don't know its full moveset. Maybe I should have whisked the Gambit first. So I live Kowtow. Oh no, I know. I was going to have the speed drop. Okay, Sinistcha goes down. I did lose a pretty big component here. Granted, like I could still win very easily, but we'll see. Or not very easily, but I can win with Tyranitar or Steelix in mind. So we get a burn on the Basque. All right. I assume it's Sneasler back with maybe Guard as the final mon. If that's the case, I want to go out into Tyranitar first. Rock Tomb, we don't know the final, but I don't think it's Protect King Gambit. I think I just Wisp and Protect. So it's not Assurance Gambit, it just has Rock Tomb. I assume it's just for the Charizard matchup. We're gonna go for a Protect with Tyranitar. They go for a Wave Crash and a Tyranitar, and I'm assuming it's a Cowtown to Rotom, or it could be like, okay, Rock Tomb Tyranitar for the speed, that makes sense as well. We land a Wisp here, which is really good for me. So we have two Pokemon that's not really doing that much to Steelix after back. Alright, so Rotom didn't take any damage, which is good. We want a Light Screen up probably here. I'm gonna set up the Light Screen and we're gonna go for a knock into the Basque. Or do we just want a Dragon Dance here? I think we'd rather just knock. Yeah, because I got Hard Switch to Steelix if I have to. I'm fast into Basque Legion, that's huge. So I get rid of Basque. Okay, that's a slow Basque Legion. Basque Legion gone and a Light Screen up. That's pretty massive for this turn. Because Seed Berry. Rock Tomb. Yeah, because we didn't take Wave Crash damage, which is kind of massive. Alright. Who's a back, though? I assume it's Sneeze or Gardevoir. Like, that's my assumption here. This should be Sneasler, unless you're going Gardevoir, which Gardevoir makes sense, but Light Screen helps out here. Okay, it is Sneasler. I'm going to go for a Wisp attempt in this Sneasler, and I'm going to Heart Swap to Steelix first. The reason I'm going to Heart Swap to Steelix first is because, A, they could Fake Out Rotom and go for Kowtow. Tyranitar doesn't do anything in this position, so I might as well just go into Steelix to threaten immediately. 2 is I can Protect Wisp the following turn if I really need to. They Fake Out my Rotom. Is this Kowtow as well? Double Up buys? Yep, that makes sense. That's a really bad crit. I don't know if I live close combat afterward. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. We're gonna Thunderbolt and we're gonna High Horsepower. We're not gonna Mega because we don't need to Mega because we should be fine here. They're gonna retreat Gambit actually. Interesting. Into Volk? No, they have Dragonite last. Okay. Dragonite's an interesting last. Sneasler protects. Okay. I get a Thunderbolt off into the Dragonite. Good damage actually. Okay. I don't think they could ever lose the... I don't think they could ever lose the Sneasler. I think you have to double up my Steelix slot. I'm gonna go for a Wisp Protect. I really think they have to double up my Steelix with low kick close combat, or they're in a really tough spot against Steelix. If they close combat, I'm just gonna have to hope I live. Okay, they retreat to... They retreat into Gambit. That makes sense too. I don't mind that. Oh, right. I forgot they had a Mega, and I didn't think it was Mega Dragonite because I'm like so used to like regular Dragonite on these builds. Okay. Tyranitar could set up, I suppose. This is probably Flamethrower. No, it's Dragon Pulse. Okay. Huh. Interesting. We still have one more turn of Light Screen, which is good. I just don't know if I'll KO the Dragonite with Heavy Slam. I think we always go Tyranitar though, and we probably click Heavy Slam. King Gambit's not like the most threatening to Tyranitar. I'm assuming his last move is Iron Head on the Gambit, so it's probably not doing too much to my Tyranitar. I would like to reset the speed on the Rotom as well. Alright, let's see what you can do, Mega Steelix. Although, I think Dragonite's probably a pretty heavy mon, so I'm not sure about how much Heavy Slam is doing. Also, the Flamethrower is going to hurt, but we'll see. Okay. Oh, they Dragon Pulse again, which is fine. Okay. The Sand Chip plus the Heavy Slam powering up the Sand Force is massive. They doubled here, which is fine, because honestly, the double in the Tyranitar doesn't matter. I need the damage into the Dragonite. Here comes Heavy Slam. Not bad damage. They need damage in a Steelix, right? I feel like my best play is double. Because they will take an extra turn of sand damage on the Dragonite. And then it's going to come down to kind of a mind game, I think, the following turns. Ooh, this is so close. I need to figure out if this is Fire Move Dragonite. Because if they don't get a hit off into Steelix, I'm pretty sure that Steelix is just generally winning this match. Oh, they're going to go for Protect the Scout for my Protects. That makes sense. Okay. So does Dragonite switch out to preserve itself, or are they going to go for a attack? That's the question. They go for Iron Head again. All right. This is just a call. I either high horsepower to Dragonite and be insane, or I swap out Steelix and a Rotom to not take the fire move. In terms of sand. I'm gonna Rock Slide swap to Rotom. It's a call. And I think I got it right. Okay. Bring up the Rotom. Yep, revealed the Flamethrower now. Perfect. Rock Slide also has a chance. I mean, it's since the Dragonite stays in, I don't have to do Rock Slide on that mon. If I get a flinch on the King Gambit, though, that's kind of nice. The damage into King Gambit is lovely, though. I'll definitely take that damage into King Gambit. Crit. Nice. Beautiful. Alright, Dragonite down, and now it's the Sneasler back. We're going to see Iron Head into the Tyranitar, take the knockout. I just don't think they have a way to touch the Steelix with King Gambit, so it's literally just going to come down to this Sneasler. Luckily, the leftovers is negating the sand damage taken from the on the Rotom from Tyranitar. We're going to go Steelix. We heavy slam this. We're definitely heavy slamming the Sneasler slot. I think I either Thunderbolt or Hydro Pump the King Gambit slot, though. Or maybe I should just whisk the Sneasler slot to be safe. There's like a Sucker Punch angle into the Rotom. Well, if they Sucker Punch the Rotom, they're still losing. In the long term, I'm pretty sure. I think I just heavy slam the Sneasler and I go for Thunderbolt into the King Gambit. Because I could see Sneasler either fake out, I could see it protecting. I don't think he ripped the close combat immediately. Yeah, they protect here. So did they sucker the Rotom? I didn't think so. They're probably going for Kowtow, which is beautiful because Thunderbolt will put that in range as they go for a Kowtow into Rotom. Perfect. I'm pretty sure there's no way they can KO my Steelix with... I'm going to go for Heavy Slam into this Sneasler and just go for the KO because... I'm pretty sure I live close combat into an attack from the King Gambit. It's going to come down to close combat crit anyway, I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm pretty sure that Steelix, Mega Steelix, definitely lives one close combat, plus an attack from a Burn Gambit that isn't low kick. And we already know it's not low kick because we saw Kowtow. I guess I could Iron Head flinch, so maybe I should have protected, though. I just didn't want to risk high horsepower, but I think I probably should have protected. No, protect was always the play. Okay, close combat. Yeah, Steelix ate that up. Like, really ate that up. Oh, they didn't go for Iron Head, thank goodness. Okay, I win the game guaranteed. Whew, because even if they crit Kowtow, it only mattered if they crit the Steelix. Thankfully, they didn't go for Iron Head and go for the flinch, but we do KO the Sneasler. And Mega Steelix is able to clean up this end game very nice. It came down a bit closer than I expected because I forgot about the Mega Dragonite as a potential possibility, but you know what, we will take that. Also the interesting King Gambit with probably Sash Rock Tomb, I think. Not expecting that one. So how was the team? I've actually thought about using this team for the regional when the team was revealed like a couple of weeks before. Like I had a bunch of people just telling me about this team and I thought like, oh, it's really cool. I built my recreation. As I mentioned before, I had Acrobatics Talonflame with Sword Stance because I thought you were taking too much damage from the recoil with Talonflame. So I did recreate it with like a few things a bit different. I didn't have wide guard on the Steelix. I think I was testing between like body press and a few other moves, but I thought body press was a bit weak. I think I had pretty much a lot of the recreation, I think generally right in the ballpark with the screen Rotom that I saw with the Wisp and the Talonflame. Like the only thing I got really wrong was the Talonflame being the Sharpie Brave Bird set. I really thought it was going to be the Acro set. And otherwise the wide guard on the Steelix. But I do think for this recreation, I felt like it was a pretty good job and the team is fantastic. It does do a lot of work. It does have a lot of difficulties with setting up properly because you do need, again, Steelix to sweep. Sometimes you'll need Tyranitar, sometimes you won't. And the difference between the Sandstream boosted attacks from the Steelix with the Sand Force is a big difference maker. However, I do think it can be a bit of a hard team to pilot because sometimes it's not clear what you want to be able to set up and, again, how to mitigate the opponent's damage output. However, I think the team is really fun to try out. So if you'd like to try it out, again, make sure you go check out Wolfe's replica code as well as his actual full details on the team down below in the description. And of course, the details of my recreation of this team are down below in the description as well. But make sure you try it out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more VGC content as always.